Finally, I go in for the biopsy procedure, and that was absolute, it was an interesting procedure. So basically a biopsy, what they do is they're taking a sample of tissue and sending it to pathology to get tested to see if there's cancerous cells or like what kind of cells are in the thing. So essentially, if you think about it, it's like a big long needle that they have to put in and like pull out. So come to find out that my procedure was a CT scan guided biopsy. So that means that they are using the CT machine, the CT scan machine, to make sure that they're kind of like getting tissue from the right area. So basically, it was crazy. I kind of went in expecting like not anything crazy of a procedure, but I get in there and it's like full blown like surgery prep. Like they drew blood, did all the testing, like literally it was like full blown surgery prep. And I was like, whoa, okay. So I was like, oh, well, they're gonna knock me out, right? No. So I get into the operating room, and so basically like you get into like the CT scan machine, and like they put you in and they pull you out, and then they see on the, you know, machine like where the stuff is, and then they're able to like, they put markers kind of like on the like area, so then they know where to place the needle. So then they put the needle in, and they send you back into the CT machine, back out, and then they look and make sure that they're like where they're collecting from. So they did that like 2 or 3 times, and I was on painkillers and like sedatives, but I was fully awake and fully coherent. So I was like calm, but then they did like a lidocaine kind of like numbing, and then just like some general painkillers. But I was like going in and out of the CT machine, like, and the screen was like right here on the side of me. So I was watching like each and every one of these scans go through with like things like sticking out of my leg on the CT machine. And it was painful, and it was like not comfortable. And the very last one that they did was insane. It was very painful. And I was like crying. My nurse was absolutely amazing though, so bless her. So anyway, finally I get to go home, and you know, within the next couple weeks or whatever, I was kind of back to normal. All was good. And then a few days later, we got the results from the biopsy, and they were like, hey, like there was no soft tissue, which is great. That's amazing, because that means that there's no cancer. So that was like the big, like, okay, hallelujah. This is amazing. We don't have cancer. Like, so grateful, so blessed, just absolute, like, nothing but gratitude. And then, you know, shortly after that is like, okay, well, what's next? Like, well, what is it then? It's obviously still, you know, it's still causing me a lot of pain. It's great that it's not cancer, but it's still, you know, impacting my life severely. So they were like, all right, well, you don't have to see the cancer doctors anymore. Thank goodness. But now we're just going to send you back to the normal orthopedic oncologist. And so scheduling out with him was 4 weeks away. So here we go again, kind of back to the waiting game. All right, what are we going to do? All that good stuff. So what I kind of did in the meantime was I took it upon myself to kind of just work on focusing on what I can do and just building up my body as best as possible. So I kind of had an idea going into like this whole thing, is that like there's a good possibility that I'll probably need surgery to remove whatever it is, whether it's a tumor or not, whatever. So I was like, okay, well, whatever kind of treatment I have to do, there's going to be some recovery associated with it after. So what I want to do is I want to work on building up my body and my muscles as strong as I possibly can, so that way recovery on the other end is like as fast and seamless as it possibly can be. So I was just kind of like working on that as much as I could. So then finally my appointment comes up with the orthopedic oncologist, and my goodness, probably the most amazing doctor that I have ever gone to or seen or anything like that. He was just fantastic. He explained to me all of my imaging in great detail, what everything meant, and then all the options. So the options were, 1, we can watch and wait, or 2, we can remove. So basically it's like just like a benign bone tumor or bone cyst, but they can't really be like for sure about it until like they go in there and actually like take it out and all of that. But basically that's kind of like the realm of what it is. So he's like, hey, listen, like we can wait and then we can, you know, come back in 3 months and see what's going on and blah, blah, blah. Or we can just take care of it, get it out, move on. So for me, I feel like I've already been playing the watch and wait game for almost a year now. And I'm like, okay, well, it's still causing me a lot of pain. It's causing me less pain than it was, but that's only because I've modified my activity in my life down to not do things that are aggravating it so much. So I'm like, it's really severely impacting my life, and I've been watching and waiting. Basically, this is not something that's just gonna like go away by itself per se. And it's just a matter of like the pain and inconvenience that it's causing in your life. So I was like, well, yeah, let's get that thing out of there. So here we are, you know, call in to get it scheduled, and they, you know, he was saying, okay, well, expect about 4 to 5 weeks probably on scheduling. So I was like, okay, I'll just go back to kind of what I was doing, you know, preparing as best as I can, focusing on, you know, a high protein, high calcium diet, getting lots of vitamin D, which helps you absorb calcium, you know, protein for kind of those muscle strength, and then just to supplement all the work that I'm doing in the gym, like a lot of unilateral work, just focusing on my lower body, getting my legs as strong and built up with muscle as much as possible. And then, yeah, just kind of doing everything as best as I can that, you know, I might not be able to do for a while after surgery, because it'll be a few months before I'm kind of back to full-blown normal, because essentially they have to kind of scoop out the tumor area, and then my bone has to like grow back. So it's going to be like kind of in like a weakened kind of state for a while, so I won't be able to do anything too crazy. But yeah, so there's the update. Oh yeah, so surgery, I was like expecting like 4 to 5 weeks, and then they call me and she was like, hey, I don't know if this is going to work for you, but we have this day. And I looked at my calendar and I was like, bro, that's like next week.